Hi everybody, it's Colin here from Woodthorpe International. Well, it's been quite successful since the last video. I'll show you that the panel, what I was magnetising underneath. I've connected that up to some wires just to show you as safety and it hanging there for me to disconnect the wires. So I'll show you that, and I've also got the Loady-Operator to work my first point motor, not in place. I've just done a temporary setup basically to learn how to do it, because this was my first go and first time ever using an MP1 point motor. They said it was good and I believe it is. It's the entry level to these MP motors because I think there's 4 of them and they get a bit bigger and a bit more powerful for different gauges. I mean, the MP1 does 3mm, 6mm and 9mm travel for the different gauges, N gauge, O and O gauge. So, but I'll show you what I've been up to with that. And can I just say cheers to Robert. I've got my cup of tea, as he would always have. He knows who he is. That's Robert from Robert's Train Set, great guy. So I will show you what I've been up to and hope it's enjoyable. And I've got a train running round up and down the helix and round, so I'll show you that as it comes into view. Alright, I've come up with my safety and how it's going to hang, just to show you it coming down. What I do, like I've shown you before, you just pull to break the actual magnet connection, hang it down, and then it's there for me to just disconnect the wires from the Ethernet cables and to pull these off. I've got a point on this one at the moment, but that's to pull these off. I'm just testing how these work, these MP1s. I haven't tried it yet, and getting Loady to make a move. So I'm just in process of messing about with that. But I'll just disconnect them, and these will all hang down with all the wires in from the back, ready for me to plug in whatever length they need to be, just so there's plenty of cable, and then I'll just push them back on. I'll tie them all together so they're all going to one thing, just like, so it's like one big wire. So once I've fiddled about with it, put it all back together, I've replaced these, whatever, I don't know what's going to go wrong. If it does, at least it's just hanging there, and I can then just unclip these, like I've shown you how they work, and they just unhook them back on. And then I just lift it up, find out where the magnets are, and that's it. So hopefully that's a backup, because if for some reason the magnets stop working, it'll only swing down and just hang with the wire what's on. And as you can see, that's the Japanese level, and I've just bought a under cabinet light just to test how it goes, and they're just daisy chained together, and I've just got one to test it. It won't be a wire won't be dangling down like this, it'll all get done properly, but I just wanted to see what it looked like. And There's a switch under here somewhere if I can find it. There it is. And that's it lit up. So that actually makes it better. When there's a few on, it'll light all under Japan. There's two settings. That's the brighter one. And that's the warm light. That'd be nice for a sunset with the snow. Because not forgetting Japan is winter and it's all going to be under snow. But I'll probably have it on that one to match the light up above what's shining on America. So I got one of them today, just wired it in just to see what it looks like. So I'm pleased with that. Okay, so this is just showing the first test. What is very interesting, I have run it, but this track hasn't been used for virtually 2 years. I think it's just short, maybe a year and 11 months. And I haven't cleaned it since I've just put it down, and it's actually working very well. I mean, it's just, I know it's a Kato train, might be different with another train, but it's a good to know that, if you don't use something for so long, yes, it's been in a box, but that's about it, Well, it's working very well anyway. So I now know how I'm going to, do it now. Testing the polarities and how I was going to bury it so I'm not crawling around. So that's quite good, that. Pleased with that. Because I'm going to dig them in like this, I can't dig them where there's track. I've got to put them further back. So what I needed to do was find something thin, piano wire, which is in there, very thin, and a piece of copper sleeve for it to slide in. And it's quite fine, but it works, it's strong enough, and I can glue this down with a bit of hot glue, and then the track can just go over the top. So that's all right. If I ever need to change the point, all I would have to do is lift it up and clip it back on, just like you would any pin going through the actual board. All I've done is at the end is put a left down, like an upstand on it, so it goes into there. So what you actually do is in iTrains you have blocks. Now with this being only 4 pieces of track, even though one's a point, you make 4 blocks. So that's block 1, block 2, and I don't know which way around I did them. We can find out. So that's the ease of it. They make the blocks. These also change the polarity. When you get these MP1s, this is an MP1, you have to, for me, my gauge, N gauge, you have to put it into 3 mil movement. I believe as standard, it comes at 6mm. And to change it, all you do is you undo these very small screws. Don't take long to undo, but just don't lose them. And what you're wanting is this bit out. If you just lift it up a bit, it comes out. So when you open it up, you can see the pin on the right in the 6mm, and I just need to put it in the 3mm one. You do get some spares, because no doubt they're very easy to lose. But what I've just done on the first one is just nip it and pull it out. That's it. If I can bring it back into focus for you. Put the motor down. Yeah, that's it. There. Not very good, I'm afraid. Yeah, there. You can see the pin, and it's a little bit thinner, and as I've just seen on the camera, you can just see a little recess. And all you do is you just push it into there. And that's set up for 3mm. And in the back of this, there is a slot. And as that turns, it pulls in that groove. So as it turns, it does that and that. Now for 3mm, it's not very much. It doesn't matter which way up that goes back in. But you just got to make sure that it's on the slot. So you just lift that slot up. You just have to make sure that the pin goes in that groove. So it sits in it and it doesn't rock. If it's not in, if it's in one of those slots, what you can just see there, it would slide a lot, and you don't want that. And then you just get your screws and put them back in. Now, for you double O people, you don't have to do none of that. It's already set up for you. I assume they've decided there's more double O people who will buy them. So we just have to put up with having to change them, but never mind. I mean, it's not difficult. So that is actually ready now for me to use, and in here, these first three are what come from the LoDi-Operator in my case, to change the actual point. And then if I want the polarities, because I'm using electro frogs, I put them in here, and frog wire goes into that one, and then your power goes into either of these, whichever is the right one for you when it's underneath your board, because if it goes under the board that way, it'll be on one side, but if you turn it around, it'll be on the other. So you just wire them up, and it's nice screws, quite a small hole to put in, but because I use those, they go in to that thin hole very easily. So I'm okay with that. So I will now, these wires here will all come upwards through the bottom of the baseboard. They won't be on top. These wires down here are to feed each block, because there's 4 blocks here, because that's how iTrains works. It doesn't matter how big the block is, but these are short, so they have to be. when I used to use auto frogs, when I used to run a train up to it and it changed, you get a little clicking noise. You don't now, but what I do get is a noise of the point motor changing. It's not the end of the world. It's just one of them things. And that's it changed over. It's not horrendous, especially when I get more and more trains running, they'll all, it'll be just a noise. And when I put scenery over, it'll block it up a bit. Again, all this is just temporary. It won't even be wired like this. It will be wired in a different way and neater. I just use these because they were convenient. But also, I've done my first bit of soldering onto the track and stuff, Happy days. It's taken some time. It's nearly 2 years since I've done over 2 years since I've done some soldering on the old layout. Something I forgot to show you. You see those little pinholes in here? One there and one there. That's where your bar's going. And when you get a pack of 8, you get this pack with the tie bars in. They're the thicker ones, and there's the spare pins I mentioned. And basically, you just undo this slot. I'll just show you with the piano bar I've got. I don't have to undo it because it's a bit thin for that hole. And basically, instead of cutting the top off, you can hang it, push it up into the point as high as you want and then cut the bottom off so it doesn't hang down. But what I'm having to do is put my thin one through the thinner one and then fold it round that so it doesn't slip out. But the other thing this point does, I think, is a really good idea. If you was to screw it on underneath and just didn't get it exact, if you undo these screws, you can adjust where your pin is going up, and then you just screw it back on. So if I wanted it there instead, and then it's fixed. And I think that's just good. It just gives you that bit of leeway putting it, screwing on underneath, or even for me, putting it in this hole. If it's just not right, what I've done is got some long staples, these long staples, and I've actually stitched them in to the polystyrene in different directions. I've put one that way, and then 2 going straight down. But if I just didn't have it in the right place, I've got that bit of leeway to adjust so it touches, the arms touch each side of the point. And I think that's really a clever idea, and I believe all of the range does that. So that's the MP1. So that's very, very good. These are the operators. They control 4 points. Or if it's a double slip, it would be 2 points and 1 double slip, or just 2 double slips. But they operate 4 motors basically. At the moment, I'm using that one and number 1 to change that motor you saw. And how it would work is they come out of here, the first one is there, the next 3 of them go into that one, and so on. Again, these won't run across here. These are just so it gets to the motor for me to test. They'll go up here and out, so it's all neat and tidy. So, and this I've taken over from where to the right, where the camera is where this one was. This was number 2, and I put it here now to power the train. For me to test the polarity, and it working okay. But now I'll just show you how you put it onto Loady. This bit here is the Loady programmer, and you set a lot of trains up. I'll just slow this train down a bit so it's not as noisy. And this is the first here of the Loadi-Operator. That one I pointed to what was operating the point. And it was a right hand point, and I put a right hand point in, even though it doesn't matter. I've named it number 8 because what I've done is the thing what's powering the track, the blocks, is number 2, and it does 8 blocks. And on my plan, which is to the left, which I don't think you can see, no you can't see it, but I'll show you in a minute, it's number 8 point. So I've just called it number 8, and you can type it in here so you can name your points, and the address is number 8. When you open this, they all set at default 200 milliseconds in this box here, because these will also switch lights on your layout, and Loady can even change the light of your room if you have a certain unit. I haven't, and I haven't learnt about that yet, and I don't never will. But you just put in, if you like here, and you drop down, there's your points. If you had a curve point, you'd just use one of these. It hasn't got curve points on it. It's got 3-way, double slips, single slip, a double slip the other way, and then it's got uncoupler. But then all you would do, if I wanted a left hand, is clip that on, and it's there then. All you've got to do is tell it which one that is. And if you make a mistake, you just click on it and move it to the bin, and it's gone. And if I actually click this, at the moment, that point is turning to the right. It's indicated by the blue line. When it changes back to the straight, that number 1 will light up. And then once it's over, it just goes out, but the blue line stays. And when I click it back, the red one will light. So it's really simple to set up. When I said I had a little bit of a problem, and it was due to me, the Shift-Commander, what is the brain for the points, like sub-brain, when I show you, there are 2 buses, as they're called, and I wanted the slow bus, but I started in the fast bus, and I'd set the points up to change, and then realised I needed to be in the slow one, so I put it into the slow, but it was confused. It was saying that, I'm in here still, and you're trying to make me do that, and It was just having a little bit of a padding. If you knew everything coming out of that bus was going to run at a higher millisecond, because it always comes at 200, you can set it up globally. That they'll automatically, when you go to set it up here, it'll be set to the higher milliseconds. And Andreas, who I contacted, he uses MP1s, and because I didn't know this had to be turned up, I had a feeling, but I just wanted to check, and he said, yeah, set it at 3,500 milliseconds. But if you just do them independent, if you end up having a street light or street lights lighting up on here, because you've got all your lights down there, you'd want them quickly. And basically, it's more milliseconds the point has to move across 3 mil. So that's why you increase that. So I can change the point using Loady. As a test, I don't need to always do it, but at the moment, I just wanted to learn. But if I move you now, so I'll just set you up in front of the computer. This line here, what's red, means there's a train on it. It's on the yellow line. That's the point what we're using on iTrains. That's why it's called point number 8. It's going off to the right into the siding, say, which is a point, but I've told it it's just a straight piece of track, or the point is this long, which is the correct measurement. So I'm just using the handset, and as I drive it forward, the one it's on will go out, and that one will come in. It'll come red. So I know it's in there. And if I just reverse it out, and then if we change points, just using iTrains, I haven't moved from here. I've got the handset, change direction, and it is moving forward, and it'll go straight on this time. There, and it's into that piece of track. Just move it forward a bit more, and it's into that bit of track. And if I just reverse out, change direction on the handset, it's now out and in to there. So that's how I can drive trains manually if I want, and set my own point route up if they haven't been locked. And I have shown you videos that when you actually do routes, if it goes over a point, it locks the point until that train goes first. Now if it's in fully automation and you've got many trains running, basically it's the first one what gets near it and books it, gets it, and everybody else has to wait. Even if it's going in the same direction or over it or whatever, it has to wait. So I can now change the points either with Loady or with that. What will be an interesting thing is to get the handset to do it. I haven't done that yet, but I can show you that in the future. So I'm a happy chappy. And I've still got a train running round. When it comes up, I will show you it. I'll just move the camera ready. So this is a train what we've had running round. It's just pulling some rail cars behind, just a set of 4 I've got. That pile of track on the left there, what it's just coming up to, is some code 55 that I saved from the last layout. All good, clean. Okay, I might just cut it down a bit. I've straightened it all out. Some was curves, but it's over a box worth. There's 42 6 lengths there, I think. And I've got a heap load of shorter pieces, so I'm going to use that as well. So I'm quite pleased. As you can see here, there's a load of rail joiners, but what I will need a lot of these. Now usually you only use maybe, I don't know, not that many, but I need absolutely shed loads of these insulated joiners, because where I only use them on the frogs of the points, or if I had any insulation track, you know, I needed to isolate it. In the old days when I had just DC. But that little track plan I showed you, if I just move the camera again, this only 3 short pieces of track and 1 point, I've used 6 insulation rail joiners, because you've got to run iTrains in blocks. And there's 4 blocks there, so that's you know, sort of quite interesting that I'm going to need a lot more insulations. I mean, when there's 2 meters or 3 meter length pieces of track, naturally I'll use like, you know, proper metal joiners. So. Oh, just as a matter of interest, I went to the Engage exhibition. I ended up getting 12 points, long points, but a very good friend of mine bought us some containers, because I need, as you know, an absolute shed full of them. And then she also got me that, and this is funny. She got us these, and Clarkson's Farm. I love that program, and there's actual been some people made to match them, but these are the points, 6 of them, and they were £17 each. It was the best price I could find. They're now selling them now at £20.95 is what most of the shops are selling them, but at the show you can see they were selling them at that, and they only had 6 of each. They says, "Oh, that's a lot." I says, "Yeah." He says, "You got a lot of points." I said, "Yeah, I suppose I'm close to the 200 mark now." He said, 200 what? I said, "I need 200 more points." Eventually. So that made him laugh. I hope that was interesting, and I'm glad to share it with you, and I'll look forward to showing you maybe some track laid in the next video. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.